We're taking a look at the Lenovo Yoga 910, the Kaby Lake version, introduced at IFA 2016, recently available in Germany. It's just gone through our full review process at Notebook Check, and we've given it an excellent 86%. In this video, I'll take you around the device. We'll give you some of our performance figures, talk about the screen and the battery life as well. A couple of negative points to mention, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. So the model we've got here is the Core i7 version with 16 gigs of RAM and a very fast NVMe connected 512 gig SSD inside. There are the performance figures for you for the SSD, so you can see really fast NVMe. So it really does boost the startup of programs. They're really quick to start up. Transfers of files, of course, over USB should be fairly quick, assuming you have a very high-speed external hard drive. Talking about USB, we've got just a USB port on this side, USB 3, and two USB-C ports on this side, one of which is the charging port. You can pass a DisplayPort over one of these ports, but the second one is only for charging and standard USB 2 communications. So for those of you looking for a big port selection, obviously there's no HDMI here, there's no SD card or micro SD card slot, and no Kensington port security connection either. So with the unibody design, Lenovo obviously going for style here, and this watch band hinge is the feature piece here. It works very well. There's a little bit of wobble, but this is a 14-inch display, remember, and so that's to be expected. In general, it's pretty good. It magnetically closes or holds itself closed at this angle, but you need two hands to push it back. Obviously, this mode is a possibility, but if you look at the weight specifications of 1.38 kilograms, using it as a tablet, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Maybe some presentations to customers would be possible, but not much more in terms of mobile activity on the tablet side of things. So let's talk about the screen a bit more. 13.9 inch 16:9 ratio, 3840 by 2160 pixels, so extremely high resolution IPS. It is a glossy display, and actually in some of our tests we weren't that impressed with the color accuracy. If you take a look at some of the deltas that were coming in out of the box at a fairly high 7 to 8 delta, and even after calibration weren't getting down much more than that. The actual screen brightness, if you look at that graph there, 348 in the middle, 300 around 300, down to 277 at the edges, is okay for indoor use. So although there's a very high resolution screen here, the color accuracy is not that good. We get 90% of sRGB and 50% of Adobe RGB, so screen color coverage is pretty average for this sector of device. You'll notice there's a fingerprint reader on the front, so for Windows Hello access, that makes getting into the Yoga very quick and easy. Usage of the keyboard is pretty good. There's not too much of a throw on the keys, but there's a definite click point, and they seem pretty nice to use. About one millimeter of travel, maybe 1.2 millimeters, and the large touchpad is easy to use with nice click points on the left and right. So in terms of performance, inside this version we've got Kaby Lake Core i7, obviously dual core U series. There is a fan inside, which if you're doing any gaming might start to wind up. But given that the graphics inside here aren't really gaming capable, and you'll see my attempt at Lara Croft Curse of the Tomb Raider there, running around 9 to 11 frames per second, not very good at all. Some older games and even some newer games that are low, have a low requirement for graphics are usable. Farming Simulator 2016, you'll see our score there for that, fairly reasonable, but not much else in terms of gaming possible here. You can get some full HD editing done on this, with some basic video editing, basic filters, crossfades, titling, that sort of stuff. Should be no problem. There's a quick look at the Cinebench figures and a look at the 3D Mark figures, and it's pretty average for an Ultrabook, maybe at the higher end of the Ultrabook range of performance scores. There doesn't seem to be too much throttling going on in our normal tests. Under our load test, we managed to get the processors to downclock to around 1.6 gigahertz. But look at the temperatures there, just hovering around 40 degrees on both the top and the bottom under full load. So that's really not a problem. Noise up to 34, 35 dBA, nothing to worry about there. It's actually pretty polite in terms of heat and noise. One little highlight, perhaps the speakers here, which are fairly good for this type of device. Certainly good enough for your kitchen music streaming, maybe watching some YouTube videos as well. So 14 inches in 1.4 kilograms is quite a nice weight, and that is a big screen, very usable, performance levels way above the standard office requirements. What about the battery life? Well, Lenovo have managed to build in a quite impressive 78 watt hour battery inside this. Don't know where they've managed to fit that in, but they have, and that's why we're getting excellent battery life, surfing of over 10 hours, and even under load, nearly 3 hours of performance out of this. Under idle, 17, nearly 18 hours, so you can sit on a plane and write a book all the way from Europe to Australia, but I'm not sure many people will be doing that. 10 hours is about your average for videos as well, although that 4K screen obviously will take a little bit more power and a little bit more backlight to get the same 150 nits experience that we do in our tests. So the Lenovo Yoga 910 is an efficient and stylish device, really nice to use, nice screen with that excellent battery life, good keyboard and good touchpad as well. Minus points, of course, for the lack of HDMI, the lack of SD or micro SD card slot there. A little bit of a minus point for the off accuracy on the screen colors and screen grayscales, and of course there's also a price issue as well. 1,700 euros for his Core i7 dual core, 512 gig SSD and 16 gigs of RAM is a little bit expensive, but then this is a nice stylish Ultrabook, and if you're looking for something that looks good and performs as well, then you might be prepared to pay that price. This is not a gaming machine. Our tests showed very poor frame rates on recent games, so don't think about gaming, but certainly for Windows Store gaming and for office use, maybe some video editing and photo editing, the Lenovo Yoga 910 is going to fit the bill. So our total score for the review, 86%, which is a good score for the Yoga 910. Check out the full review on notebookcheck.com, notebookcheck.net. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to get notifications of more videos. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.